Nabota's here. Probably not in Beyond, but long before Elite Feet, I'm hoping to start seeing our ship layouts in the UI. This is Modularity ED, in lieu of Elite Feet, Cobra Mk III Edition. All of the optional internal compartments are arranged around the cargo hatch. The rest of the components are arranged by necessity of space or location accessible from future passageways and compartments, save the drives, which are already restricted to specific locations. Before designing deck space, I also reserve volume for thrusters, landing gear, and radiators. The bay of the Cobra Mk III takes up a significant portion of the lower half of the available space. In order to keep access to the cargo hatch and still have room for the Mark III's larger components, there really was no other way to arrange the bay. It's by no means spacious, but regardless the loadout, access to the cargo hatch is maintained. Once the bay is established, component access space, crew quarters, community space, and passageways are built from the cockpit or bridge. The deployed landing gear reveals the exterior access to the cargo hatch. The lift access to the main deck deploys into the cargo hatch space as well. From the bay, which is currently packed with an SRV hangar, components, and some cargo space, we have access to some modules, including the retracted RAM hardpoints. As a continuing caveat, I already know that my system uses larger components than FDev's. I did this on purpose because this was supposed to test FDev's claim that they were systematic when designing ships. As such, here is our first major deviation from what we can observe in game. In Elite Dangerous, the Class 2 RAM hardpoints on the Cobra Mk III retract into the hull through panels completely out of sight. In my system, they would encroach too far into the RAM Class 4 optional internal compartments for all of the possible modular components to fit, such as passenger cabins or Class 4 gadgets. As it is, luxury and business class passenger modules block internal access to the RAM hardpoint room, which ostensibly would only be functional or useful if, in the advent of Elite Feet, we were given the ability to repair modules by hand, and if there were an extra difficulty to repair modules from the ship's exterior. These kinds of obstructions under certain loadouts, in my opinion, would give ships a lot of real-world character, but I digress. In the case of the Cobra Mk III, the only time this happens is when all three Class 4 internal compartments house either luxury or business passenger modules. Continuing the tour of the bay, I've emptied it out as we move to the aft exterior access. The main deck passageway opens up into community space, including a mess, but also door access to the FSD, drives, crew quarters, and cockpit, as well as the hatches to the power distributor opposite the reactor. The Class 1 hardpoints are accessible from the distributor and reactor rooms respectively. Opposite the ship's mess is a community space largely reserved for birthday parties and passengers that require a ton of landmines to make their trip more comfortable. Again, the bay needs to be clear to open the cargo hatch. Provided a helm has unlocked the bay lift, passengers can access the main deck passageway. Once the bay is clear of passengers and crew, the cargo hatch can be opened to deploy SRVs, or dropped to scoop or jettison cargo. Regardless where cargo racks or SRV hangars are located, access to the cargo hatch is always available. And that should just about wrap up the Cobra Mark III Edition. Thanks for watching. Neb, out.